Hello and welcome to today's video. So today we're just going to share about tips on how best you can raise your broiler chickens. To begin with, thank you very much for subscribing to my YouTube channel, and thank you very much for some positive feedbacks that have been coming through. They're encouraging for me to keep going. So today it's just going to be tips, of course, on how best you can raise your broiler chickens. In the background, I'm trying to work on a manual where we're going to be helped in terms of raising your broiler chickens very good, of course, which is big and tasty, and your customer shouldn't complain about. Also in the manual, I'm going to put how best you can manage your chickens in the cold season and also in the hot season, and of course a few diseases that you might try to trip those baits once you try to notice them. So I'm sure I'll be very done. Soon, and we'll roll it out here together. So to start with, tip number one for successful raising of your broiler chickens. Number one tip is, of course, buying healthy and quality chicks. When you talk about healthy and quality chicks, you mean you buy a chick that is healthy. So I know there are a lot of vendors around town or wherever you could be coming from, but how do you get to know that this is a healthy and quality chicks? Of course, there are people who've been in this business for quite some time, and they know, say, okay, that one, those chicks they sell are quite good and all those things. I remember I've had an experience before. I went to buy some chicks, and I think I was convinced by some price. So the other guys were selling quite less than the others, but they told me it's a rose chickens. So I bought, and upon buying, what I experienced was after I brought them through, they started having these diseases, and I had to start running up and down trying to treat them, which is a loss again on you. So once you buy healthy and quality chick, you tend to avoid all those complications. Number 2 point is housing and spacing. So when you talk about housing and spacing, you need to know how many beds your house can accommodate. So you find at times people do overcrowd the beds in one room, and at times they tend to make them less, of which once you overcrowd them, they produce heat. So that's also the reactions which are taking place there, and they're producing heat. You find at the end of the day a bed gets affected, and they tend to die. Of course, when they're less, of course they feel cold and all those things. So you need proper management when it comes to the spacing and housing. And of course, in the manual there I've put some details on how best you can manage the spacing, looking at a few calculations, and you just need to know how best you can position your feeders and your drinkers as well. So these beds are quite lazy. They're big and quite lazy, so moving for them is quite difficult and all those things. So managing how best you can put your drinkers and feeders is also key when it comes to spacing in the housing. Point number 3 is brooding. So when we talk about brooding, I think those who've kept chickens know what brooding is. Those who haven't kept chickens, in simple terms, is what a mother does when it comes to raising a chick. So once a chick, they say the first 7 days are quite crucial, because if you don't manage them properly in those first 7 days, the feeding will be quite poor and a few will die. So this stage is the most critical stage for raising chicks. Make sure your love is there for them, you support them, the environment is good, and they're eating. Once this stage is done right, then you are sure to make your customer happy. So make sure the first 7 days you make sure they eat, you make sure the environment is a tip for them to keep eating very much. And then last but not the least, put good general management, which contains feeding, of course, the water and sanitation, the lighting, and of course ventilation. So when it comes to feeding, make sure there's always feed in your chicken house. Yeah, you might skip for an hour, but these birds are ever eating. That's why they're growing every now and then. Make sure there is always feed in the chicken house for them to eat and grow. Water, make sure there's always water in the water house. You know, water is a useful a useful substance for a lot of things in the body. Yeah, you tend to dissolve the food that you eat using water. You tend to cool yourself using water. It's similar with the chicken. That's what it does. So make sure there's always water, and the feed and the water shouldn't be very far away. Like I said, these birds are quite lazy. So make sure the water and the feed are in right positions so that these birds can be active, eat, and grow. And also ventilation. You know, you've got sawdust in there, and there's the chicken waste. You know, so that there's some reactions also taking place. So they're producing this heat from there, and also the chicken is producing heat with what it eats and all that. So ventilation will definitely help take out all these toxic air, and also just make the environment conducive for the bird to grow very well. Now, I know you and me, we all want an environment where it's quite conducive for us to be productive, and all. It's similar with these birds. But of course, also I've got the issue of lighting. Definitely, you need proper lighting in your chicken run for them to be active when it comes to eating. Let not the light be dim. So if during the day you've got corners in the house where it's quite dim, make sure you provide light so they eat often. Definitely, once they eat often, you expect them to grow. Again, the other thing is sanitation. Make sure there's proper sanitation in your chicken run. In as much as you want to sleep somewhere where it's very clean, or you want to live in a house where it's very clean, similarly with the birds, they want a proper environment for a very, very good growth. So make sure your sanitation is 100% par. One, it helps you to avoid diseases. Two, the chicken will be very, very happy because it will be quite creative and they'll eat quite often. And yeah, I've seen some poultries where they take about 2 or 3 weeks, or about 3 or 4 weeks, 5, just to clear it out. I know once you go in there, it's smelling, the scent is quite high that you can't even withstand for a number of minutes. So make sure your sanitation is at par to make or to support these birds to grow as soon as possible. Yeah, so those are the tips that I wanted to share with you today. 1, buy healthy and quality chicks. 2, housing and spacing, brooding, and of course the general management where we talked about feeding, the water, the ventilation, sanitation, and lighting. So put to practice all this and see your bird grow and make your customer happy. Thank you for watching, and next time.